Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review Army for tonight's, transfer show. Tonight we'll be going through certain players that are obviously linked to the club. We're not, again, saying that they're definitely signing. These are just what's been linked in the media. We'll go through them. We'll have a chat about them, see what they could bring to Newcastle United should they eventually sign. Billy will be with us shortly. He's just running a little bit late tonight, so he will join me and Alex soon. But as usual, if you do enjoy tonight's show, please do hit that thumbs up button. Very, very important. We keep those likes coming in on YouTube for certain fans like yourselves to find us in the search results. You can become a member by clicking the join button at the bottom of the live comments. We've got some more member stuff coming up. And, of course, you can donate to the channel if you do so wish by hitting that $sign at the bottom of the live comments, which is guaranteed to get your comment read out live on the show. Good evening, Mr. Stato.
Hello, how are we doing?
Not too bad. We'll start off on a bit of very, very positive news, of course. Did a video about it earlier today that Fabian Schar has extended his contract, Alex, till the end of the 24-25 season, which is fantastic news.
Well, I think that ultimately confirms there's not going to be a centre-half this window, which I think we kind of knew that anyway. It didn't look very likely. So that pretty much is the nail on the coffin for it. But, you know, we could do with him. Just because we go and recruit another centre-half doesn't mean Fabian Schar doesn't need to be with the club. We still need a transitional period. We still need people around.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they can't be at the club at the same time. It's good news to keep Fabian. He's very, very reliable. There's no reason why we shouldn't keep him around.
Spoke very well about the club as well. Saying things like
he's been here a long time.
Yeah, he's at home here. He loves the club. He loves the fans. Everybody's just buzzing, and I'm really pleased that he has, because I was getting a little bit worried. It was getting, towards the summer. He could speak to other teams, but it seems like this obviously has been spoken about for quite some time now. And of course, he is signed. Billy does join us. Good evening, Billy.
Good evening.
How are you? You're looking very cold.
I'm cold, but I've just seen my son off to university. That's why I'm a little tad late.
All right, no worries, mate. We're just basically talking about the good news today of Fabian Schar signing that contract extension. Alex has said what he thought. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well deserved.
Yeah.
If you want someone alongside you in the trenches, no one as brave and courageous as Fabian Schar, and he's got the skills to match as well with the passing ability. So, yeah, well deserved contract extension, and the best £3 million Newcastle United probably ever paid. I
know, still really, really unbelievable how much we actually paid for him. But hey, what the hell? Some sad news, of course, today as well. The passing of Germany legend Franz Beckenbauer at the age of, I think it was 78. Really, really sad news, Billy, because what a player he was.
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough to watch him as a kid. In the '74 World Cup, and I've obviously studied him as well. He was a midfield player in the '66 World Cup when he came on the scene. And a real good midfield player at that. The difference between England winning the World Cup and losing it in 1970 was Franz Beckenbauer. So Alf Ramsey took off Bobby Charlton, who Franz Beckenbauer had been preoccupied with as soon as he did that. Franz Beckenbauer came into the game, and then they scored 3 quick goals. Then he became a sweeper, captain of Germany, captain them to the World Cup, and then, of course, managed them to the World Cup. So, that's 2 in 2 weeks we've lost that have both played and managed World Cup winning sides. Zagallo died last week. Beckenbauer this week. Both sad losses to the game, but Beckenbauer, a true master of the game, a real shining star that we've lost.
Alex, did you know much about Beckenbauer? Obviously, you'll have seen him play a couple of times, I would assume, on like highlights and things.
Yeah, it's always the clips of the famous teams. There's a lot of documentaries and clips floating around of the old famous sort of Netherlands teams and Germany teams, whether it was East or West Germany from back in the day, and he is obviously a big part of football history, and I'm pretty sure he's studied as well when people go and do things football wise at university. There's a lot goes into he's mentioned when you do sort of the Cruyffs and stuff. He's a conversation in there when people are doing tactics and how football changed. He's definitely in that conversation. So.
Derek says there, De Kaiser, the original sweeper.
He was the first one, yeah.
Indeed, yeah. Mika Lumo Aho, thank you very much for joining the membership. Welcome to Members Club. James Welsh, who's been a member now for 16 months, says, hope for an eventful January, but slightly disappointed that we haven't really made an approach for anyone. But the owners know what they're doing. And Robbie, thank you for gifting a Toon Review membership. And that free membership has gone to Jacqueline Hood. So thank you very much for that, Robbie. Now, we do have the FA Cup draw tonight as well. We'll be bringing you that live through the show. I believe it's about 20 to 8, the draw, I believe. But it is subject to TV, so God knows. But we will bring you that live on the show as well. So looking forward to that. Any particular teams that we're looking for, guys, that fancy getting in the next round?
Wrexham.
Yeah, anyone at home, to be honest.
Wrexham at St James's Park, because it'd be great for TV, and we'd beat them. So,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's 10 to 8 the draw. Are Maidstone United still in it? I think I read today they've actually said that they want Newcastle away in the next round. So very interesting. But we'll probably get Liverpool at Anfield. That's just how it goes. Scotty Vivs, thank you for being a member for 4 months. He says the Mackhams haven't beaten us for 9 years now. Well, there you go. And Mackham Cabby says, well, it definitely won't be Sunderland. Yeah, it's not. Right, so obviously, Alex, you're going to start with a player who's already with us tonight. Obviously, I did the live show earlier on this morning with this. The morning news show was based upon certain media factors claiming that Newcastle will listen to offers for Sean Longstaff. Paul Chollerton, welcome to Members Club. Thank you very much for signing up. Really appreciate that. Billy, obviously, were you surprised to see those media reports about Longstaff, or does it make sense given it's a 100% profit towards FFP?
It is, but it's not a lot still, is it? I mean, what we're going to get for Sean Longstaff, tops, I'd say 25 million.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, 20 to 25
million over amortization. So
yeah,
I'm not sure it's a good enough deal to get rid of a homegrown player that's, potentially could be in the England squad if he gets a bit of form. So not for me. I don't think I'd want to sell him. I think there's other players before him I'd want to sell.
Yeah. Well, Alex, there is his stats. You want to run us through them?
Yeah, so just I thought it'd be worth going through, just expanding on the video you did today. Mm-hmm. We have looked at him before, quite recently anyway. There's a lot of people just sort of throwing him under the bus and saying we've surpassed him. So I think that's unfair. I think we need to actually have a look at who he is, where is he at right now. So 26 years old, technically in the peak of his powers in terms of a midfielder and age profiling. Doesn't always work out like that. His contract expires June 2025. So at the end of this season, he will only have a year left on his contract, which is worth noting when you sort of check the value that we could get for him. 2 goals, 2 assists this year. He's tiny bit hot for that, I guess, with 1 goal in the Champions League, of course, a very famous goal. He's been useful this season, possibly more used than he was meant to be with sort of the midfield recruitment and the emergence of players like Anderson. However, there is no however. Let's go down and have a look at the data. In terms of statistics, so profiling quite well in terms of output, shots, non-penalty goals, lots of touches in the attacking penalty area, which we know because of his impressive movement. He does get himself in really, really good positions in the box. He does receive a lot of high passes. Again, those are 2 metrics that are really interesting. We talk about it a lot. We see it a lot in games. He gets into those positions and then just doesn't have necessarily the technical ability to always finish them. The rest of his data is very middle of the park. Ball progression via passing is 48th percentile. So this one, bang smack in the middle. Carries a little bit under par. Successful take-ons, he's not a sort of ball glued to the foot, technical kind of dribbler. He's just not that guy. Passes attempted is a little bit lower, but again, I think that's down to a lot of it goes through Trippier and Bruno. It's down to system more than him, which is fair enough. Shot creating actions, he's not the guy who plays the killer balls. Again, is that left to other players? Is that because he can't? Is it a combination of both? Probably the latter. So there's the general data for him. Some people would suggest that slightly underwhelming. However, if we do go down and look at who he's profiling similar to, he does keep very good company on this list. So Daichi Kamada for Lazio, who we we were we weren't linked with him. I think we were briefly linked with him, possibly. I think we were. I think we did him on a transfer show, and he at the time profiled very much like Joe Linton. And he was putting up some very good stats. Luca de Torre is very highly rated, as is Gavi and Sabitzer. Sabitzer was at Manchester United and had a quite underwhelming loan spell, but he's been very, very good everywhere else he's been, and he's very decent at Dortmund. We've seen him this season against us play for Dortmund and play very, very well. Marcos Llorente as well is a very good player for Atletico Madrid. So how he's profiling,
as to be fair, is John McGinn. I quite like John McGinn.
John McGinn as well. So whatever people want to say, he is a good midfielder. He's a solid midfielder. I understand with where we're going to try and win Premier League titles and stuff. Is he the guy that's going to help that? No. However, in terms of being a squad player, because we're going to do his transfer mark next.
Oh, sorry.
In terms of being a squad player, I think he's worth keeping around, in my opinion. But we'll save that to the end. So, 187 central midfielder. We know this bit. Let's scroll down and have a look at his value. So the transfer market value has him at 25 million euros current market value. I'd say that's probably right. I think Billy hit it bang on the nail, bang on the head. I don't think we get more than 20 million for Sean with what's left on his contract. If he had more left on his contract, he carried his form into January, we could maybe get a cheeky 30, 35. That's not happened. He's got a shorter contract and he's not in the best of form right now. If he'd have carried on his form and got called up to England, we could have stuck an extra 10 on there, but it hasn't happened. So I'd say 20-ish. His agent, Gol International, is this one, who we have had dealings with in the past, because obviously we have spoke to Gabri Vega's agents, because there are pictures of our agents, people associated with the club. I think we went to view Fresneda and Gabri Vega, so that that's not even a rumor, that's just a fact, because there's pictures of it. Yannick Carrasco, there were heavy links between us and him as well a few seasons ago. So it seems like we've got reasonable connections with his agency as well. To try and iron something out useful. I personally would not sell Longstaff.
A lot of people didn't want to, simply because of the European factor. If we get back into Europe, then he's a homegrown player. But on the flip side of that, you've got to think of. I said this morning that sometimes you have to. There's no sentiment in football anymore. And you have to do what's best for the football club, and that's what
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, no, it's just with this 100% profit. I think that's what the media reports were saying about it. That Newcastle may listen to offers because it is 100%.
But it's not just the homegrown thing; it's the homegrown trained at club which makes him more valuable than anybody seems to be factoring in. Yeah, and you've got to remember, we're not 5 years into this journey, nowhere near. And you need some of these players. Look at early Man City, who had the likes of Gareth Barry and James Milner playing. There's no reason why Sean can't. He doesn't have to be a starter. He just has to be somebody who can play well in a derby, who knows the club inside out, who meets a good quota. At the moment, we've got like Gillespie still on the books because he fits quotas. I'd much rather have Sean as a cheerleader because he can at least play and play well. And he's not going to be playing well against every opposition, and he's not going to be playing 60 games a season for us. But can he play 20, 25 and be competent and useful? Absolutely, yes. I just don't think that the maximum we get is 20-ish. I don't really think it's worth it, in my opinion.
Billy?
I agree with that totally. Yeah, totally. He offers us more than £20 million, I think. Well, it's £60 million for the amortisation, I guess, but I think he offers us more than that. He's not going to be a first-choice player next season after. But he's a fantastic replacement for someone that's injured, that's for certain. Yeah, because he covers ground, he covers inches on the pitch. I mean, there's not many people in the squad that does that, and you need a workhorse in the midfield.
I'd agree with that. I mean, the thing is, I said this morning that any players that we bring in have got to be better than what we've got. And if we're prepared to I saw ridiculous things being linked to Jordan Henderson today, which I found astounding, quite honestly, because we want to bring in players that are better than we got. It would not make sense to let Sean go and bring in somebody like Henderson.
Even the In the Knows have mentioned it and then said it's been turned down, because even they can't entertain that as a joke, because it's just an obvious no.
Bollocks. I mean, I saw things like, Eddie Howe spoken to Henderson and all of this. Nah. Macam Cabby says, I heard rumours you could be after Dan Ballard from us. Listen, I was really impressed with him. I know he scored an own goal and gave a penalty away, but I was exceptionally impressed with how he dealt with things. And me and Billy said it during the commentary. I thought he was good. I thought he's got a lot of potential there as well. So somebody like that working under Eddie Howe, I tell you what. But we're not in. I really can't see us going there for any sort of centre back now. The Sport Report. Welcome to the Toon Review membership. I know you've been desperately trying to get a membership. You've got one now, so welcome to the family, and thank you very much for your support. Now, just before we look at the players that we're linked with, I want to talk a little bit about this fan advisory board, because it is getting some backlash on social media. One fan who has only really who lives abroad and made it public knowledge that they'd only been starting to support the club since the takeover. First game was Arsenal 2023, and a lot of the long-standing supporters have been pushed aside again. I mean, Billy, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm totally unaware of it. You're going to have to give me some kind of... I didn't even know about it, to be honest.
Yeah, well, the fans had a chance to apply for this fan advisory board.
I'm aware of that. They've announced them now, though.
Yeah, and some of them are bizarre, to say the least, who've only been fans for like a season or two. And really, I mean, the club kind of embarrassed themselves with it. There's been quite a lot of backlash. She's an American girl who just started supporting Newcastle after the takeover, been to one home game, and suddenly she's on the fan advisory board. I don't understand that. Surely the fan advisory board needs to be people who are supporters. You know, I'm not having anything against that. I'm just saying it should be long-term supporters, surely, on a fan advisory board who know the club inside out.
Yeah, you need to have done... I understand that it's a bit hard for people who are younger, and we need representation among all age groups, but you need to have put in the hard miles in some capacity. And since the takeover is not good enough to represent any part of us, not yet, you're a follower, you've got to put the hard miles in. And in a sense, we're nothing to do with anything official with the club at all. We are fans who provide content and like talking about the club. And that is essentially it. So for people in that position, I think they should consider themselves very privileged. I think it's maybe just a byproduct of trying to grow internationally. I don't think it's been done on purpose to upset people like
just
us.
To let you know, guys, I applied. So did Roy Caviani as well. But you know, I mean, look, somebody's just said there it should be people who run channels like this, as you have a voice for many. It's not a bad idea, but like I say, we've never had any contact from Newcastle United anyway. But I did apply, but as I know, quite a few who've been going a long time applied and got nothing. So look. I think it was the way she worded our acceptance thing and saying, "Oh, I've been a sports fan for many, many years." I mean, that is, you know, without offending our American viewers, that's a very American statement to say. You know, I've been a sports fan for many years.
Even if it wasn't done with bad intention, it does hurt for the people that have loved the club for a very long time.
Yeah.
So is there anyone that's got channels that did get on the board?
I haven't heard anybody that's got a YouTube channel on the advisory board.
They might have just avoided that entirely, which if that was the direction, that's absolutely fine.
That's what I was thinking,
But you know, good luck to her. I mean, but it has faced a little bit of backlash from the fans again. But you know, I think it's at a stage now where you know, the owners of Newcastle United, they can't win and they can't lose. You know, so whatever they do is going to upset somewhere along the line. I personally think it's a little bit wrong. But to be fair to the girl, she does run a lot of New York-based Newcastle United events since she's become a fan. So she does do a lot for Newcastle in New York.
I mean, we've got to take it on the chin, because if we want to grow globally, we're going to have to do things like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's get on with the potential links. And again, I'll just reiterate before we go into this, we are not in the know. We don't know that we are going off media reports. all we simply do on these shows is look at the players, take a look at the stats with Alex, and see what they could bring to Newcastle United should they ever sign. We are not saying that there's any concrete links or medicals booked or anything like that. It's simply just to see what they could bring to the squad. Bradley Lupton, thank you for signing up to Members Club. Thank you very much for your support. Welcome to the family. And the first player is Valentin Barco.
So just to go against Paul really quickly, we're not looking at him. We are in the know in this one because we know exactly what's happened. He signed for Brighton, but we reviewed him on a transfer show a couple of weeks ago. So I thought it was nice to tie up loose ends. And for anybody who remembers this kid, keep an eye on him. He's going to be very, very impressive. And then I'm going to move to the actual.
Well, thank you very much for embarrassing me, Alex. It's no problem at all. You will be fired after the show. Spoons, Ian, thank you for your super chat, matey. Hope you're well. Is there a single working class Geordie season ticket holder on the fan advisory board? Box ticking exercise for diversity, except our local diverse working class. A good point, Ian. I think it's upset a lot of people. It has, and in a way, I agree with that. And it's burnt a little bit with certain fans. So it's just the way it goes. I guess we just have to get on with it. Times are changing.
Sorry, can I, being as this is a transfer show, I don't normally do this, but I just need to address that comment. The spine of our team that we've recruited since the takeover is Botman, who's Dutch, Bruno, who's Brazilian, and Isak, who's Swedish. The spine, none of them are English. So get that comment right in the bin. That's utter nonsense. I'm really sorry.
Eddie does like his. He does like his.
He does. We do recruit English, but
yeah.
And his two biggest signings, of course, Isak, who's already been mentioned, and Tonali, of course, who's Italian.
Yeah, Tonali's Italian. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, Eric, thank you for your super chat. He says, in my opinion, ouch on the accent, I'm American and have watched and rooted for us through 20 years of struggle and feel it's a cheap outreach move to choose her. So there you go. Well, Eric, you should have gone in for it. You've been a fan 20 years. I wouldn't have minded. It was just the way she said, I'm a sports fan and I've started supporting Newcastle since the takeover, which a lot of people have. And then said, one game she's been to, and I feel like, hang on a minute, what about us veterans who know the club inside out and would love to be part of something like that? And again, get turned away. I don't understand it.
I think the point is she's not suffered any heartache under Newcastle United. She's all
she doesn't know. Yeah, she doesn't know what
we've had the shit. She's had nothing of that, has she?
Exactly, Billy. She hasn't had the absolute tosh that we've had to deal with under Mike Ashley, and some would say, Billy, back in the 80s under some terrible ownership as well. Yeah, we've lived through that. But again, I mean, I don't know why Newcastle don't contact this channel. I really don't. We have a lot of veteran fans and a lot of good supporters on here. And, I just think it's not just a kick in the teeth to me, but other fans who've applied as well. And then we read that on social media and it's like, anyway, our first, can I announce this is our first player to look at, Alex? This is the proper one now without me looking like a fool. It is Guirassy.
It is. So the pool is not as deep as it once was, guys. There were times in previous windows and transfer shows where there were 7 or 8 different positions we possibly were recruiting for. There were so many different players. This window is a bit different. It's definitely reduced, and it seems to be Calvin Phillips is the big name, and there were a few other general names being bandied about. So we'll focus on the main ones, and then it's not beyond the club to have something cheeky up their sleeve that nobody knows about, but we'll wait and see. Mm-hmm. So Guirassy, what's been happening since we last had a look at him? Of course, there is the cheeky little rumoured release clause. I think it's somewhere between 15 and 20-ish million. Is it 17.5? Something like that. It's rumoured to be quite a cheap release clause. So 6'1", right-footed, 27, nearly 28 years old. So this guy he's bang on sort of peak age, physicality, speed, finesse, prowess, whatever adjectives you want to throw out there. He's all of it right now. So this isn't one that's going to be decent in 4 years. This is a guy for immediately. It's something that I'm a little bit skeptical of, purely because is this a flash in the pan season? Is he ever going to be able to produce what he's doing right now in another season? Personally, I think not. But he's still going to be very useful. He profiles a bit differently to the strikers we've got at the moment. And of course, the big kicker here is he's got 17 goals and an assist, which is absolutely ridiculous. But excuse me, I'm getting a little bit ill this week. As the data shows, though, from 11.6 XG, so he is running massively hot. So when these numbers return to normal, it's still an impressive return. So even if he's banging him in on XG, he's still 11 or 12 goals, which is still very, very healthy. It's more than our strikers have got, so still impressive. Right, let's go down and have a look at the actual data. So as expected, the offensive data is through the roof because he's putting everything in the back of the net. Shot creating actions are very, very high as well. He's quite big. He's very, very strong. He's good at sort of build-up play in terms of anchor play as a centre forward, which is why he's providing a lot for his teammates. He's difficult to get the ball off. His passes are nice and clean and tidy. He's receiving the ball very high up. Lots of touches in the attacking penalty area. And again, doing what you would imagine because he's a big lump and winning everything. Say everything. Maybe could be doing a little bit better with this, but above average for clearances and aerial duels won. So he looks like he's contributing from maybe defensive set pieces and defensive corners, as well as just winning a lot in the air, which is useful. It's something we don't currently have. This is a Chris Wood on steroids kind of profile style player that we just don't have in our current squad. So it's like if you put a bit of Chris Wood in with Alexander Isak, you get that anchor play aerial duel winning guy that can also be a bit more technical and score more goals. Although that's a bit harsh on Chris Wood because he's been absolutely smashing it this season. Who does he profile like? Well, because he's scoring so many goals, it basically just puts all the best goal scorers currently. So there they are. I'm not going to read them out. You know who they all are. Benzema, Lewandowski. It's no secret. So let's go and have a look at the actual important information. A few people have mentioned AFCON in the chat. So, okay, right. AFCON, how's he done since we've last looked at him? 42 million estimated value. We've already clicked it. Damn it. We can't make him cheaper. So 42 million euros estimated value as a forward. Strengths on SofaScore is anchor play. We've already discussed that. I mean, it's pretty obvious. So recently, how's he done in December? So 6th of December, he scored in a 2-0 victory over Dortmund in the DFB Pokal. 2 goalless games, which, it's one of them was against Bayern. It happens. Scored again on the 20th of December against Augsburg in a 3-0 victory. And then has played a friendly against Nigeria in the build-up to, which is actually today. Oh, cool. That was at lunchtime today, and they won 2-0 in the build-up to the AFCON. So when is AFCON? What's going to happen if we buy him this month? Well, I will tell you. So he is in Group C in the AFCON. I don't think they're getting out of that group, personally. He's from Guinea. So he's got to play Senegal, Gambia, and Cameroon. It's between Guinea and Gambia, I guess. I would suggest to the whipping boys of that group. Guinea, not a bad side. However, that's going to be a tricky group for them to navigate.
Some of the best losers some of the best third place go through as well, don't they, in that one? So
ideally, we want them finishing bottom and leaving if we want to sign this guy. I mean, they're not a bad side. They've got some interesting players. They do have Naby Keita, who, of course, was at Liverpool. Amadou Diawara, who is at Anderlecht at the moment, who actually won the Conference League with Mourinho at Roma. So they've got a few reasonable big hitters in this side, and then Guirassy up front. So they've got 3 or 4 players who've been at a very, very, very good level, to be fair to them. This is their fixtures. So they start, AFCON starts 15th, Monday the 15th against Cameroon. They kick off. And then if they finish bottom of the group, their last game would be the 23rd of January. 23rd of January against Senegal. So that is the earliest we would ever get him back. If we were to sign him in the next couple of weeks, if we magically triggered this release clause.
What's his injury record like, Alex?
I'll show you that in a minute, but just a quick note for people. If you do want to watch this, could be interesting. Guinea play Gambia on Friday the 19th, which is obviously Yankuba Minte's team. So we could see Minte against Guirassy in like an interesting little, could be a cool little scouting mission. His injury record, there you go. We've just given away one of the players, but Guirassy. Oh, that's not how we spell his name. How do we spell his name? We spell it Guirassy, with no E. There he is. Right. Injury record. Where is injury record? Career. I've forgotten what injury record is, guys. Right, ask Billy then while I try and find his injury record.
Well, I mean, Billy, is it a one-season wonder? That's the problem. I mean, that's what we're worried about. And I believe he does have extensive injury list as well, which there you go. Look at those serious ankle injury, fitness. I mean, what the hell's fitness down to? That could be COVID, I guess.
Mate, that was 5 years ago. That's a bit unfair.
But then an abductor injury, which is a pretty bad one.
So that was last season, and that had him out for 51 days. Between Feb and March, he missed 8 matches. This season, it's been one issue. October to November, he missed 18 days and 3 matches. So considering he's got that goal record and he's missed 18 days and 3 matches, is bonkers. But
I like the way it's got him down as having a cold in March of 2018.
Yeah, for 4 days.
Mental. We've just got a couple of super chats to cover, guys. Where are we at here? George, thank you for your super chat. He says the fans' rep seems to have been picked because of their managerial positions. Sport Report, thank you for your super chat. Did I hear all 3 give Newcastle's best? My man Miggy a perfect score of 30 on yesterday's live. Glad Alex is learning quick.
Well, we've just stopped him a couple of points each for that post.
Yeah. Yeah. Guirassy, Billy, what do you reckon?
Obviously, a man hotly in form, isn't he?
Yeah.
He could walk into the squad just like Papi Cisse did all them years ago and have the same kind of impact with a bit of luck. But yeah, I mean, for that price, it's a no-brainer, really.
I mean, it's 17.5 million is release, isn't it? But then again, if we're well, yeah, because we're haggling over £5 million for a loan fee of Calvin Phillips, so you kind of think, what is going on? We don't know, but Guirassy's certainly one that would, I think, excite me. I think he's a very good striker, and I'm interested to see how he does in the AFCON. I think you're right, Alex. I think Guinea are right up against it to try and get out of that group, given they've got 2 of the big hitters in there as well. So,
although Paul Tully does raise an interesting question. What did he do pre-Stuttgart? I mean, I don't really know. He was French, wasn't he? Only in France, mainly. Yeah, he was. I mean, it was 11 goals last season. So 11 goals for Stuttgart. Just only goals, though, from 20 starts, which is still pretty decent. He's been healthy 2 years on the trot in a decent league. That's not poor. And then it was. I don't know what happened.
His record's not great in France, but in Germany, he seems to have
as he's peaked. Yeah, as he's peaked. Yeah. But again, why only 20 starts? Maybe that was rotation plus that injury, that 50-day injury.
Yeah,
he looks like he's doing all right in his peak. But again, this is somebody I would only be comfortable giving a 3-year contract to. You don't be giving 5 to 6 year contracts to somebody who's 28-ish.
Absolutely. Bob, thank you for your super chat. He says, how much money can we spend this window with FFP? How long is a piece of string, my friend? We have absolutely no idea. And those that claim that do have an idea are talking out of their anuses because they don't. Ian, thanks again for another super chat. He says, rubbish comment, Alex. All is the FAB should include local working, or the fan advisory board should include local working class people, not just business people from our area. You read my comment wrong.
I didn't even know I read your comment, Ian, if I'm honest. I'm very confused what you're on about in the chat. Whatever I said wasn't based on your comment. I was just saying what was in my brain. It wasn't against you.
There you go.
Definitely not.
There you go.
I'm not even sure what you said. I'd have to scroll back up and have a look.
Clue says, how strong is Guirassy? We need someone strong to replace Wilson who can deal with long balls and big centre-backs. We know Isak is not good on the long balls, but he is a wide forward or a number 10. You know what, though? Cisse was a very slight figure, Billy, and he could handle himself. He got stuck in.
Yeah, but they are different kind of players, Cisse and Guirassy, although they are pretty lethal in front of goal. Cisse had pace, didn't he? And he ran the channels, got him behind. But he also had that little bit of cheek to do things that no one expects him to do.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Chelsea for that, exactly that. But Yeah, it was lethal, wasn't it? Guirassy's pretty lethal, but I think most of his goals come from inside the box. I'm perfectly frank.
Looney Tunes says Guirassy is a unit.
Big lad.
Yeah. Simon Jordan reckons we've got up to £150 million due to credit from Scrooge Ashley.
Simon Jordan's not taken into control that we had no sponsorship deals that brought any money in. The pitch slot side sponsorships were all to his company, which he paid nothing for. He used it as a
that's what I tried to say this morning in the show. People saying, how can teams, with less support or smaller teams be spending money because they bring in the money and we haven't. Everything went to Ashley, not the club. It was his cash cow. He milked us dry.
It's also changing to wages to revenue as well.
Yeah,
and then it's going to change from 90% 80 down to 70%. And we've currently got a ton of people on our books. Like we're still paying Jeff Hendrick wages, Jamal Lewis wages, Gillespie, Richie, Dummett, Monkito, Fraser. Like there's about 8 or 9 players we're paying a reasonable chunk of change to that just don't play. Like we don't have the wiggle room at the moment.
Yeah, well, Looney Tunes says there, but Ashley wasn't generating very much for the club. Just because Ashley spent nothing doesn't mean we have loads of club revenue. Exactly. And a lot of people mentioned Chelsea this morning, but if you look into Chelsea, their revenue has been fantastic over the years. You look at all the loan players they've let go, whether you agree with it or not, the loan fees that they've got for the players. Then they've brought players from the academy and sold them on. They've made a lot of money behind the scenes that we don't hear about. So there's lots of that going on.
They also had the FFP seeding reset after Abramovich was forced to leave.
Exactly. Yeah. Cisse, the majority of the time, hit and hoped, and they would go in. I don't really agree with that. I think they weren't hit and hopes. They were just fantastic finishes, in my opinion.
In the general direction and hope.
Well, isn't that what you do when you take a shot?
Right. Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean? If you take a shot at goal, you're hitting the shot, hoping it goes in. And if it's in the right place, it flies in the roof of the net. He meant that goal at Chelsea. No matter what people say, he looked up and he saw. Was it Peter Cech? Wasn't it, off his line? And it was a fantastic hit. But even the first one,
I'm sure he was particularly off his line. I think it was just an absolute thunder hit of it didn't even matter if he was on his line. He weren't saving that.
But he hit 2 worldies in that game, remember? Because his first one was a brilliant one, bringing it down and then volleying it in the net. It was a fabulous goal. So I think you've been a bit harsh on Cisse there, to be fair. Yes, he went through a dry spell after that, but you know what? When Cisse and Bauer were up front, you just knew we were going to score goals. Right, next player is. Are we on the right screen, Alex?
Yes.
Okay. And it is Donyell Malen, who I've signed many a times on FIFA and is an absolute rapid machine. We've also seen him this season, of course, for Borussia Dortmund, Alex.
Indeed. Keep going.
What do you mean?
Well, you're on a roll there. It's all correct.
Well, I know I'm correct. That's why I'm stopping. The Sport Report, thank you for another super chat while Alex swallows his tongue. So happy we extended Fabian Schar's contract today. So glad about it because he is really one of the best players and he just fits in our centre-back position. Indeed. Right, Alex, take it away.
So, this is an interesting one. We've only been linked very minorly to him. Most of the English media have linked him to Manchester United. But there have been odds and sods that have linked him to us, mainly just because it's an opportunity. There's a lot floating around that he's surplus to requirements or isn't going to be renewed or doesn't want to stay. I'm not quite sure what the main reason is, but there's a bit of unrest and talk of him leaving Dortmund in the summer.
Might be the Sancho talk, Alex.
Yeah, Sancho tour. Who knows? There's definitely been stuff out there in the media about it. So we'll talk about it. Whether it's true or not, we don't know. But it's a possibility he goes somewhere soon, whether it's this window or in the summer. Could he come to us? Possibly. In terms of how he profiles, well, he's a winger, but he's been playing a lot of funny wing back, and he's one of these that's just been playing where he's been told to play, really. So in terms of how he profiles age-wise, 24, just about, well, I mean, about to hit 25. I mean, nearly happy birthday for him. Where's my mouse gone? Yeah, there you go. Very soon, very soon to say happy birthday. 5'10". He is, as Paul said, an absolute speed demon. He's a freak of a winger. Contract technically is for a little bit longer, so what we're looking at 2 and a bit years, but it depends what this sort of wobbly situation is with them wanting to get him out or him wanting to leave, whatever it is. 115,000 euros a week, so he's on quite a lot of cheese there. It'd be interesting to see what we could offer him, because that's kind of upwards of what our top players are getting, really. So whether we'd pay him that, I don't know. 5 goals from 5 XGs, bang on the money there. Champions League experience. He's played against us. We've seen him. He's a good player. We'll scroll down and show you the actual data for him. I would urge you to take this with a pinch of salt, because I'm pretty sure. So this is 2,300 minutes. So this is a good sample size. However, I think they're including a few wing-back performances in this, which would inflate it slightly. I'm pretty sure they are. So maybe this whole progressive carries and take-ons is exacerbated a little. He's made to look a lot better. Even so, he's rapid. He's very good at progressing the ball. He's very good at beating his man. Has lots of touches in the penalty area. He's getting a lot of shots. 4 shots per game is enormous as well. It is in the top 1% in Europe. And he's doing it in the Bundesliga and in the Champions League. Who he profiles like, he's keeping good company as well. You got Rashford, Diaby, Garnacho, Sterling, Rafael Leao, Mo Salah's on the list, Vinicius Junior's down there, Felix. You know, in terms of how he's profiling for beating players, I understand. I know a lot of people aren't happy with Rashford this year because he's got no end product. Fine, I know that. He normally beats his man and then just kind of forgets what he's doing when he reaches the box.
Nathan's just said in the chat there that he reminds him of a right-sided Maxi.
I'd say it's a lot more pace. Maxi's a bit more
tricky.
Once he gets going, it's very much body shifting and tricks. Whereas Malen, I think, is a little bit more about pace. But that's just from what I've seen of him. I think I've only seen him maybe 5 or 6 times, whereas I've seen Maxi a lot more than 5 or 6 times. So it is what it is. His career to date, so started off at Arsenal. So started off in England and then went through all the PSV teams. Played quite a lot in the Eredivisie. He did win a title with them, but only 4 appearances at that point. So wasn't really part of the team when they won it, but was part of the team that got 2 second-place finishes. 26 starts in his last season there. Went to Dortmund, 20 starts, 22 starts, and then 11 starts this year. So he's not getting all the minutes. He's a rotation player, but his goal return is very, very healthy. Last year, from 22 starts, 15 goal contributions. That's enormous. 9 goals, 6 assists.
He's not a right-sided Maxi at all. He's scored many goals and assists. So yeah,
Maxi was on 10 goal contributions, and this guy was on 15. So you know, it is what it is. Okay, he's transfer marked. So who is he? He is very well regarded internationally. So 28 caps and 5 goals for the Netherlands. I know the Netherlands have gone through a bit of a funny period in the last few years, with Memphis Depay being kind of one of the only people who can play up front. But still, that's very impressive to have 28 caps and 5 goals for the Netherlands. He's definitely good enough. He's also playing in a position that we could kind of do with some support in, because at the moment it is Miggy and Murphy. Miggy's 29, nearly 30. Murphy's 28, nearly 29. So both of them are, it's not like we've got one of them who's a bit younger. They're both kind of in that upper age. So bringing in a guy who's kind of a bit younger, that kind of 24, 25 in that kind of range makes a bit more sense. Theoretically, he can play anywhere across the front line. It's very much a kind of a Gordon in that way. Just go on and run and harass people and be really quick. I think he could do kind of something similar, maybe not in terms of the intensity and rattiness that Gordon does it and nipping at your heels.
I'm sorry, hang on a minute. I'm just watching the adverts on ITV, and Jurgen Klopp is doing the advert for Peloton. Out of all the people in the world that get donkey teeth, I mean, unbelievable. Anyway, sorry, Alex, I just couldn't believe what I've just seen.
That's all right. So as you can see, yeah, there's the Manchester United rumours on there. International career, well, he's been involved with the youth setup internationally since he was 15 years old, 14 years old. So he's part of the furniture in the national setup.
Yeah.
His agency, SEG Sports Entertainment Group, based in the Netherlands. They have Rasmus Højlund, Cody Gakpo. Anybody we know? No, not really.
No.
So doubtful. We've dealt with these before. Daily Blint's on there. Kaminski's on there for Luke. No, not really. So
I believe that Daily Blint's only 33. He seems to be been around for like 100 years.
I know, yeah.
Malen, Billy, I mean, again, we're talking about, is he better than what we've already got? Is he better than Miggy?
Yes.
I think he is. Absolutely. So, he offers a lot more, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And he can play through the middle if needs be as well. Because he's done that before. I've seen him do that. So yeah, he's a good all-round forward. The kind of forward that Stats has been begging us for quite a while. Someone who can fill more than one role in the front three, and he's got pace to burn. He really is rapid. So is it all-round yes from me?
Yeah, absolutely. John says surprise Klopp isn't either doing a Colgate or a Listerine advert. It would make perfect sense for that to happen. We've got the draw for the FA Cup fourth round coming right up, guys. So this is where it gets exciting. When we're in it, it gets exciting until they draw the balls out and we play one of the big teams away from home, as normally happens. A Liverpool, a Man City. I mean, look, that game last night, guys. But I don't know whether you saw it. Liverpool Arsenal. It was a pretty good game of football, last. I mean, I know Liverpool had a few changes. Arsenal wore a strip that it must have been for some sort of charity, I think.
It was knife crime, wasn't it?
Right. But Arsenal had much the better of the first half, and then they didn't convert the chances, and then Liverpool stepped it up in the second half.
I didn't see, but I saw the first half.
Yeah.
And like you say, it was Arsenal just really profligate in front of goal, weren't they? They should have had 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Didn't get
definitely.
any, and ended up losing the game.
I think one thing I will say about Arsenal, and I think this is something we as fans can learn from this, is look at how Martinelli and Saka are playing at the moment and how dysfunctional it is and how it's the kind of the goal return's not there. It happens to any standard of player. Martinelli's struggling for form. Saka is quite, at the moment, quite predictable and easy to defend against. I don't really want to say it, but it's very Miggy in that regard, that he's going to cut in, he's going to do this, he's getting brought down a lot. And they're really, really struggling to get past fullbacks and to create what they were creating last season.
Jaws about to start.
Yeah, it is.
It's one of those where,
absolutely. Who is doing the... Is that Gary Mabbott?
It's like Kate Thornton.
Yeah, I don't know who's standing. Who's the one next to him?
It's Gary Mabbott, yeah. He once scored the winning goal for Coventry City.
I remember Gary Mabbott. Hard as nails.
That's it, wasn't he?
Yeah. I think he was one of the... I think one of the first players to say that he was diabetic. I take it we're looking at a goalkeeper here for Arsenal. Yeah,
I thought it was Kate Thornton, but it ain't.
Simon Muller, thanks for your super chat. Pedro Neto would be my first choice right wing. Good on set pieces too. Very interesting. Very dark studio they've got for the draw here, but hopefully they won't make as much of this as what they do for the Carabao, because it's a joke the way they go on with that. Bath, I remember that elbow from John Fashanu. Who can forget that? Whoa, dear me.
Nasty.
That's when footballers were tough. It was very nasty. But Gary Mabbott was, he wasn't the cleanest of players either, was he?
He could play. He was a good midfielder as well as a good centre half. He played for England in midfield, and I think he may have played centre half too. So
yeah,
excellent player.
Oh, will you just get on with it instead of talking nonsense, man? Honestly,
it's Kate Thornton. Oh, it's Emma Byrne, not Kate Thornton.
Emma Byrne. Why would it be Kate Thornton, Billy?
Well, it looks like it, doesn't it?
Well, a little bit, yes. But then when you seen her making a save from a 40-yard shot there before, you kind of got the impression that it was the Arsenal goalkeeper.
Well, did you know Kate Thornton played in goal for Arsenal?
Well, she'd be a bit old now, Billy, I would have thought. You know, I mean, if you're
young,
looking at Kate Thornton back in the X Factor days, I mean, she's probably put a year or two on. Now, there we go. Gary Mabbott is putting the bag of balls about to put the bag of balls into the machine, into the little pot machine. It's not a machine at all. Now, I wonder if any of them are heated up, lads. What do you reckon?
Yeah, number 15 will be well heated up.
Yeah. We want number 2, Wrexham. Come on.
Yeah.
Is that what that number there? Number 2?
What number are we?
That's what Ian Skinner says, so hopefully.
Are we 18?
15.
15. And the first ball out is number 14, and that is Watford. So Watford are first out of the hat, and the next one out, the away team, will be number 10, and that is Southampton. So Watford against Southampton is the first draw on the board. And the Kate Thornton lookalike now pulls out number 22, and that is Blackburn Rovers. That could be an interesting tie if we got them at Ewood Park. And they will play number 2, which is Wrexham.
Isn't it? Oh, gutted.
Wrexham would be gutted about that. Wrexham.
I mean, it's not too bad for them financially, I guess.
Next team is number 26, and that is Bournemouth. Oh. And Bournemouth will play at home to 24, and that is Swansea City. Bournemouth against Swansea City. I don't think that's going to be on live TV. Next out of the hat is number 6 or 9. West Bromwich Albion. And they will play, of course, we thumped them in just before the pandemic, remember. They will play number 28, who are Brentford or Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Interesting one. Replay. A Black Country derby. Don't like each of them two.
Absolutely. Hate each other, don't they? Next up is number 6, and that is West Ham or Bristol City. Bristol City getting a fantastic result at the London Stadium yesterday, of course. And they will play number 19, and that is Nottingham Forest or Blackpool. Blackpool, of course, getting a draw at the City Grund yesterday. Next to come out the hat is number 13, and that is Leicester City.
Come on, we need a home draw.
Well, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
We never get a home draw.
Leicester City will play number 32. Hull or Birmingham City?
That ain't on telly either, is it?
No, that's an old championship encounter. Either team winning that. Next out is number 16, Sheffield Wednesday.
We don't want these bastards again.
Maybe we do, Billy. Maybe we owe them.
Maybe
after the jip we got off their fans last year.
Exactly.
They will play 27. And 27 is Coventry City.
Interesting.
Yeah. Indeed.
I've seen Coventry play at Sheffield Wednesday in the FA Cup before.
Man City, Liverpool, Newcastle, all not out yet. 25 is next out. Chelsea. Here we go.
No.
Here we go.
Where's the hot one?
Here we go. Feel for the warmth.
It's going to be us, isn't it?
No,
it's 18. It's Aston Villa.
Oh no! Don't like that.
Oh dear, don't like it. Yeah. Oh, it's a bad tie for us that one year. Oh no. Anyway, moving on. Number 11 is next out, which is Ipswich Town.
Could be a Sir Bobby derby.
Bobby Robson derby. Ipswich having a very good season, of course, at the moment. And they will play number 30, Maidstone United.
Bastard. Jammy Farmer twats.
So there is still some very big teams left in this draw, guys.
Newport and Eastleigh looks all right.
So many Premier League teams left.
Next out is number 1, which is Luton Town or Bolton Wanderers. Liverpool. I thought it was number 1.
No. Piss off, Maverick, you knobhead. Here
we go. Calm down. You dare.
That's Spurs.
It's number 5, Norwich or Bristol Road. Look at that, man.
That'll be on the telly.
Seriously. Unbelievable how the big teams. We're going to get Man City at the Etihad, aren't we? Next out is number 7, Tottenham Hotspur.
Don't want that.
Absolutely, we don't. And Tottenham Hotspur will play number 21, Manchester City.
Get in!
Wow.
Pull us out now, you silly bint.
And the next one out there, how weird, man. You should be used to grabbing ball. No, I'm not saying that. Anyway, next out the hat is number 12, Leeds United. Oh,
I'm on Leeds.
Be a cracking game. And they will play 29, Plymouth Argyle.
God, it's going to be a hard draw. If we get now, unless we get Newport.
It's going to be Man United away, or let's have a look. Brighton away, still in there, of course. Everton. Next out the hat is 17, Crystal Palace or Everton. You just know it.
Piss off, my butt.
And outcome number 1, Luton or Bolton. So we are still in the hat. We are yet to come out. Come on, man. Just put those big palms around that ball. Here we go. Oh, number 31, Newport or Eastleigh.
Well, that's the easiest tie left.
Oh, come on.
Come on, Mabbit.
Newport or Eastleigh. That'd be amazing.
Yes.
Come on,
we'll
Mabbit.
Play.
Come on, Gary.
20. Wigan or Manchester United.
Oh, of course, Man U get it. Of course they do.
So, Brighton, Fulham, Newcastle and Sheffield United, all Premier League ties.
She just pushed our ball away there. See it? She just pushed our ball away there. She did.
23, Sheffield United.
Well, we'll have that.
Yeah, I'd rather have that.
Oh, he's pushed our ball away again. We're getting Brighton. Tanya.
And they will play number 4, Brighton. So we will play Fulham, but will it be at Craven Cottage or St James's Park?
He's pushed it away again.
It's going to be a Craven Cottage.
Fuck.
Fulham will take on Newcastle United at Craven Cottage. We are the last ball out of the hat.
Yeah, it's the hot ball, isn't it? Or cold ball.
But what's the point of even looking at the number? We know who it is. It's Newcastle. So yet again, away from home, and this time we take a trip to London. Guys, your thoughts on that?
Could have been worse, but still shit being drawn away.
It's not the hardest tie. I just wanted a home tie because I think we can beat most teams at home. Away is just annoying. And Fulham are Premier League, not an easy place. We've got to turn up. We've got to play we wanted Eastleigh or something because then it doesn't matter who we play. Whereas now we have to play pretty much a full strength side to go and try and get the victory.
Yeah, it was an opportunity to play some of the reserve squad, wasn't it? But listen, again, we're away from home. We're going to have to do it the hard way. Fulham is a definite winnable game, guys. I don't think Fulham are that much to worry about. We destroyed them at St James's. We can do the same at Craven Cottage. We did them last season as well at Craven Cottage. Let's not forget. There could have been harder games. It's going to be a tough one, but it could have been worse, guys.
Well, I mean, Man United have got to play Wigan and then Newport or Eastleigh. So,
well, yeah, but it always happens. They always get the easy. Tottenham against Man City's a big one. Chelsea against who would Chelsea Villa. So there's two bigger sides going to go there.
We'll get Norwich or Bristol at home.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it just seems very convenient for them. Yeah, but look. You've got to beat them. If you're going to win the cup, you've got to get through some difficult ties, and we're away again. Fulham are
in the Carabao Cup semi-final as well, so they've got a lot of games.
They are hit and miss though, Fulham, aren't they? 1 minute they'll destroy teams, and I think they got beat. Who did they get beat off at the weekend at Craven Cottage?
Nobody, because we're in the next round.
No, before that in the Premier League.
Pass. They've been struggling recently.
They put 5 past the couple, didn't they? Then they lost to someone, didn't they? Was it Luton or someone like that?
It was us, Billy.
And us.
And then us, or someone else.
They spanked, I think they won 2 games 5-0, then came to us and got humped.
Let me bring up
Did Burnley beat them?
Burnley might have beaten them, yes. Or drawn against them, certainly. But I know that the last game they were on...
So they beat Forest 5-0, West Ham 5-0,
and
then it was us that beat them 3-0 to set it off. And then they drew 1-1 with Everton. They lost 2-0 to Burnley.
Yeah.
They lost 3-0 to Bournemouth. So it was us. We started their little slide. But then they managed to beat Arsenal and they beat Rotherham in the cup as well. So
yeah, it was the Arsenal one I watched that they beat Arsenal. But hey, that's what I mean, hit and miss. If we turn up and play, then we'll beat them. So oh God, Ten Hag's on the telly. My God. Well, what a prick. I don't like him. But there you go, guys. That is the show done and dusted for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. You've had a couple of transfers there and the FA Cup 4th round draw. Newcastle United will travel to Craven Cottage to face Fulham. You will get that game live right here, of course, on the Toon Review commentary. Match day live. We will cover all the Newcastle games for the rest of the season, of course, right here on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your super chats and memberships. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to Billy and Alex. And thank you to you guys. Over 1,200 watching tonight. Really incredible support you keep giving on this channel. Don't forget, if you are new, please do subscribe. Come and be part of this incredible community on the way to 27,000. And of course, don't forget to hit the notification bell, which lets you know when we schedule our live shows or we upload any breaking news videos as well. Please do hit the thumbs up button before you leave the stream. Very important. Or if you're watching this on a rerun, please do give it the like. Very important we keep those coming in on the channel. And of course, you can donate still to the channel even when we're not on air. There's a super thanks button just underneath the video if you're watching this on a rerun, and you can super chat that way. But thank Yeah. Names changed. Interesting enough. Okay. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. To pay no attention to our jovialness, it's an insider joke, and it's just you know. But there you go. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll be back with the morning news at 11 o'clock in the morning. Until then, have a great night, guys. Take care.
Well, that's
what was that?
Come back and check out some breathing.